Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, your paranormal portal podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together. Hello everybody, we're getting out the sage tonight. How you all doing? You caught me right in the middle of it. How you doing, Steve? Here,
I'm
get
doing
you
great.
some.
How you
Get
doing?
you some. Get you some. That
What is
nice
that?
sweet sage mixed with a
Sage.
little sweet grass.
Trying to quit.
It doesn't burn, does it, Steve? How you doing tonight?
I'm
Good.
doing good. Thanks. Had a good day for, what is today? Monday? Yeah.
I believe it is. It's Monday Madness. It must
It's
be
all
Monday.
the same. It's I work from home full time and do my thing here, and
And
every
it's
day's
hard.
either Friday or Monday. It's either it's the weekend, or oh my God, it's Monday. I've got all this to do.
How
But
is everybody in this chat tonight?
I got a lot of good
I
looking
see.
people in here.
I always feel like I'm doing romper room. I should get myself a
Get the
mirror and
magic
take the
mirror,
glass
yeah.
out. Yeah. I see Carol and Grey Wolf and Patriot 174 and on. I see Terry Brown. Who do you see, Steve?
Well, let's see. I see 9 Lives of Sandy and Jackie Canella and Andrew Gnome
Wow.
Striking,
Donnie
Jeanette
Chow.
Sanchez, Grey Wolf Paranormal, Laura Elizabeth.
Jackie.
Yeah, one time the romper room lady
Hey,
saw
Laura.
me, and I had a hole in my pajamas. I went and hid behind the couch.
Shoot.
And I was like,
wow.
"What are you doing back there?" I'm
What
like,
are
"The
you-
romper room lady saw me."
She can see me. She can see me. She knows I ripped the label off the couch. Did I ever tell you about that time I ripped the label off the couch and I heard sirens and I hid behind the couch? I see Uncommon Belief, Jeanette out there, Jackie, hey, all our wonderful mods. I'll tell you what, Steve. They do a fantastic job. I have mods that get in there, and we had
Terry Brown's here.
Ron Yacovetti. Oh, we're already getting hit with a squadron of bacon. Look at that. That's a whole platoon right there.
Under
Jack,
the
thank
story,
you, Jackie.
I heard about a girl who was told
That's enough for
never
everybody.
to touch the stereo. So one day she felt brave. She went over and turned one of the knobs on the stereo, and she said at that exact moment, fireworks factory on the other side of town blew up.
And it was her fault.
Yeah,
I'm
so she
serious.
touched
When
the stereo.
my mom got home from work, I was scared to tell her because I had ripped that label off, and I promise you sirens were coming down the street. I'm still adjusting mics here. Can you see my background, my lovely skulls?
Yeah, still got
See
it
the
out
boys?
there.
See the boys back there?
Now those are real, right?
They're a
That's a
little-
real stack of skulls.
Well, they're not real human skulls.
No, yeah,
But
yeah.
they're real.
It's not a green screen.
No. This is
Well,
back
we
here.
can find you some real ones.
My lovely windows and such. See, I wish I had windows like that. No, that's green screen. But
There used to
this
be
is
a
real.
place
This is
called
real.
Carolina Biological Supply, and you can order actual human skulls from there. I don't know if they still sell them or not.
I wouldn't
know
recommend getting one.
they've got some
However,
replicas, but yeah, I don't want a real human skull.
drinking a
Well-
cappuccino out of a nice skull with a little crow on top is
Yeah.
lovely on a fall night.
Oh, I thought
It's
you were
November. It's
Put your
November.
little old crow in the coffee.
Yeah, no. There's no whiskey. It's actually straight cappuccino because it's just chilly. I got a sweater on. I mean, I'm in Jersey. It's already, they flipped the switch out here. It's already, you might as well just batten down the hatches. Winter's coming.
Yeah,
You know?
it feels like wintertime here. It's
Well, that's tasty.
shows turned up.
Nothing like cappuccino in a skull. So
41
how's everybody
yesterday.
doing tonight? We had a good guest last night. We had Ron Yacovetti. And I'm thinking about getting some surprise guests to jump in on with us in the future. I hear a little bird told me Dave Scott might jump in with us on a Monday. And
That
I've
would be
got Kevin Killian maybe coming back and jumping in, talking about old Civil War ghosts. I'm telling you, Kevin's had a lot of personal encounters with ghosts, very unique ones, too. I think it's because of his unique vantage point, too. Makes a lot of difference. Don't you think, Steve?
Oh, absolutely.
It's how you look at it too. I mean, not just what happens, but how you know. I don't know. But we had a good conversation last night. I learned a little bit about tech and stuff. That's not my strong suit. I don't understand equipment. That's why we have wonderful people that have paranormal groups that, when I go out, sometimes I have time to get the equipment explained to me, and sometimes I don't. I just rely on what I've got and what I'm used to, because that's the only way I can trust me, evidence that I'm getting, or things that are either telling me I'm on the right path or I'm on the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? Just like tarot cards or anything else, dowsing rods, pendulums. But they take it extra steps, because now they've got all this other stuff involved in it, and frequencies and electromagnetic waves and everything else, from soup to nuts, From cat toys that blink when you touch them, and, spasmodic balls. What do you call them? Wait, let me take that one back.
Might need to see a doctor about that one.
I don't know. Is that paranormal equipment? That might be something else. Hold on. Roll that one back.
Equipment, or are you just glad to see me?
I've got so many jokes. I'm just gonna let it go. How about I roll a tape there, Steve?
Might be a good idea.
Somebody, please, if there's Grey Wolf, all the paranormal people, we go out there, please let that be the next piece of equipment that we come up with for it, because I want to see it at the next Paracon. Okay, we'll figure it. Oh gosh, it's gonna be good night, Steve. I can feel it.
Yep.
Sometimes when it's just you and me, and the parents went out to the movies and stuff like that, we'll have a ball. We can build us a fort and watch a horror movie and pop popcorn and, put scotch tape on the cat and have a good old time. All right. So anyway, what is our topic? Were we talking about something?
I don't think we got there yet.
Did we get there yet, chat?
We're going to show a video.
Hold on now. Let's see. There's so much going by here. I can't keep up with this chat. They're faster than me, Steve. How about you?
Yeah, always.
All right. We're in the U-Haul in the back, rolling around having a good old time, and they're just going on. Let's see. 2
speeds. This one and one slower. So
oh God, maybe there is something in that skull besides cappuccino. Let's see. Hey, I can't. I'm so far behind. I think
says balls. You were talking about balls.
Were we talking about balls? Spasmodic balls. We got to do something with that, Steve. We got to do something with it. I'm telling you. That deserves a round of bacon for everybody. If anybody's got some spare bacon, toss it up there. Okay, so...
hoping the CDB oil in this drink will take care of it for me.
Well, see, that's your excuse. I've got nothing. I'm just drinking cappuccino. So anyway, I thought angels, Steve. Now, you and I both have stories in each of our books, and one that we did together that has to do with angels, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as Frappuccino. Hey, Laura, how you doing, sweetie? My unicorn friend. Balls, you were trying. How long you been waiting to type that? Oh, here comes the bacon. Thank you, Jackie. Listen to this. You probably saw this already, Steve, but I'm just clicking in. This is funny. I can't let it go. Carol, how long you been waiting to type something like this, Carol? Carol XO, balls. You were talking about balls. Oh, that's great. Well, good night, folks. It's been a lovely evening. Really glad we all came together. Oh, gosh, and all the bacon. All right,
this so we'll be here all week. Don't
balls and bacon. That's what it's all about. So anyway, angels, Steve. Even though it looks like the devil's trying to keep us from talking about it.
Yeah, I think the angels have left the building tonight.
I'm going to talk about an angel. I'm going to tell a story. Okay, so did you not have one? Was that an angel story? I remember you telling me, and it was something about a coat.
Yep, the angel in the overcoat.
Oh, please tell it. Please tell it and save this show.
True
Put this
story.
show back
What
on the
happened
rail.
There are no balls harmed in telling this story.
Stop it. If you make me spray cappuccino out my nose, Mr. Stockton.
That's a
Okay.
bonus.
Now be nice. Here we go.
Yeah, that was back in the 80s. A girl I was dating had some kind of meeting that she had to go to in a church in downtown Knoxville, like in the basement or something. And she didn't want to go by herself because it's downtown and it was late at night. So I drove her down there and I waited in the car while she was at the meeting, and I was reading a magazine or something. And all of a sudden there's just a guy right there at my window. And, I'd been watching the street because I was waiting for her to come out. There was nobody walking around down there. Downtown Knoxville probably still is, but back then it was dead after 5 o'clock. All the businesses closed, people went home. And down in the old city, in that section, there were bars and stuff that were open. But the actual downtown part of it, no. 5 o'clock, boom, gone. So I'm sitting there, all of a sudden there's a guy at the window. And he was, I don't even really know how to describe it. He was like clean and dirty at the same time. Have you ever seen people that just kind of have that sheen to them?
Yeah.
And he looked kind of rough and kind of rugged, but almost like he was wearing a costume or something. And he started talking to me, asking me questions, and how you doing? It's a beautiful church, and talking about the church and stuff. And I can't remember the name of the church. I can see it, I can take you to it, but I can't remember the name of it. It's like this big old thing is a Episcopalian church or something, real fancy looking, pretty. Might have been a Presbyterian. There's some old Presbyterian churches in downtown Knoxville. And he asked me if he could have a couple dollars. He said he knew where he could get a chicken for $2. And I thought, well, sign me up for that. I don't know where you can get
chicken for $2.
a chicken for $2. But I gave him the $2.
Wait a minute. Was the chicken alive? Was it fried?
I didn't
Was
inquire.
Was it fricasseed, baked, roasted?
That was all the information he provided. He knew where he could get a chicken for $2. So
that's funny.
Might have been a pet chicken on a string.
Could have been. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It could be, or it could have been just one egg. He could have been getting duped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Guy could have said, "I'll get you a chicken for $2," and he shows up with $2, and the guy hands him an egg.
The whole conversation was just
suck.
So surreal, though. Mm-hmm. Talking about chickens and stuff in the sky. He looked like kind of like Emmett Kelly, in his clown outfit,
yes.
except without the makeup. But he was kind of ragged looking.
Okay.
And he said, well, it's nice out here tonight. He said, but it's going to get cold soon. This is like in the summertime. It wasn't going to be cold anytime soon.
Right.
And he said, you don't happen to have a coat, do you? I'm like, no, I don't think. And I stuck my hand like behind the seat, just reflexively, I think, just like I was looking. So, no, I don't have a coat. I put my hand, as soon as I stuck it back there, I put it on an overcoat that I'd forgot that I'd left in the car, raincoat. And I pulled it out and I said, how about this? He said, oh, that's just the one. That's the coat that I've been looking for. Mm-hmm. And it was one that I'd bought like at Goodwill or Salvation Army or somewhere like that. I think I paid $0.10 for it. But, nice looking as like a checked pattern, something out of the 60s or early 70s or something. But he acted like he'd seen it before. He's like, that's just the coat I wanted. I'm like, well, there you go.
Wow.
And
wow.
Fooled around a little bit, and he said, well, I'm going to get going. Thank you for the coat. Thank you for the $2. I'm going to go get this chicken. So I watched him walk around the corner, and I thought, that old bird's probably going to go somewhere and buy a couple of quarts of malt liquor or something with that $2.
The bird he's talking about was probably wild turkey.
I'm going to follow him and see where he goes. I mean, he just literally, I watched him walk around the corner. I started the car. I drove around the same corner of the church. Street is empty. There was nothing there but the church, and there was no doors or anything on that side. All the windows were up high, and they were closed anyway. On the other side of the street was an old cemetery with a big iron gate, and it was padlocked shut, and the entrance wasn't on that side anyway. That guy was just gone. And I just had the weirdest feeling that he was... in the Bible it says sometimes you entertain angels unaware. And I
Yes.
think that's what that guy was. I think just to see
Mhm.
how I would treat him and how I
Mhm.
would react to him.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's exactly how it's described to us too, because
yeah,
I mean, how do you know that? I think everybody thinks that when they pass somebody that's hitchhiking or whatever, and what if, right?
Donnie Cho said he was either an angel or a ninja.
Right, right. Well, see, that's just it. I mean, countless Bible stories of, be careful how you treat people because it could be an angel in disguise. I mean, on
Yeah.
top of that, all the things we've got thrown at us all the time, just here in the chat,
Hmm.
is it my loved one or is it a demon? Because we've got religions
Yeah.
telling us that you can't talk to
Well,
a
there
past
there
loved
are
one.
familiar spirits that can mimic loved ones, but you should have that discernment to know the
Exactly.
difference.
Yeah.
And I thought about even going in. I'm wondering if was it somebody that's in that cemetery. I thought about if I go in there, I bet I'll find that coat folded up on top of a grave. But I didn't go in there because, like I said, it was dark. It
Oh,
was
wow. That would be something.
downtown, and I knew my girlfriend was going to be getting out of the meeting soon.
Yeah.
I just drove around the block and came back, and he was nowhere to be seen. Um,
Can you
but
read what Andrew's got there? I don't know. Can you see it better than I can, Steve?
I've seen hitchhiker type entities while driving a big rig. That one.
Yep, yep, yep. Trucker ghost stories, man. We're gonna do. In fact, we're gonna get together and do something in about a month or two where we're gonna do trucker ghost stories. Just bring everybody. I was a trucker in the army. That's what I did.
Get Annie
I'm
Wilder on here.
I'm full of stuff, aren't I? I know, but
And Annie
yeah.
Wilder would be great for that. She wrote a book called Trucker
Yep, yep.
Ghosts.
She did. Let's do
Um,
it, Steve.
yeah, she's on my
Consider it done.
Facebook. I'll message her and see if
Consider
she
it
wants
done.
to
Get
come
her in
on.
here, and we'll get some
She's
call-ins from
in
truckers too,
she's
just in
in
case.
Minnesota or somewhere.
The
Donnie
black
would
dog
or
story, all that.
Andrew would be a good one to have. He's got some good stories.
Yeah, he's right here.
He sat in with us one time or a couple times, I think, on Campfire Stories.
Let's do it. The
But
black
I
dog, the
always
whole
just
thing.
felt like it was some sort of supernatural thing, whether it was a ghost or an angel. But I felt like maybe it was whoever that coat had belonged to. Because like I said, I got it at I believe it was
Wow,
Salvation Army for like a dime or a
maybe.
quarter or something. And he come looking for it. And I was like, but that was weird that he asked me if I had a
Right? Why
coat.
not?
I'd forgotten that was back there, like in the floorboard behind my
Why
seat.
not though?
Reached back there and put my hand on it. Well, here you go. But the way he said that, that's just the coat I was looking for.
Yeah.
He didn't say it was my coat or anything, but that's the coat I wanted.
Right. I
So,
mean, that's the thing when you start thinking about it like that, and you start knocking around ideas that way. If you want to know what I'm doing, I'm trying to get it brighter in here so my green screen will work better because I can't stand that fuzzy stuff. But that's the thing; they pop up out of nowhere. Like these things always seem to happen. Of course, when you least expect it, unless you're in an actively haunted house where you're constantly getting cabinet doors opening and closing and bangs and this and lights on and off or whatever, TVs on and off. You're not expecting these things, and you weren't expecting that, and then to look at it on the outside like that, yeah,
yeah.
maybe it was connected to the
Could have just
coat.
been some homeless person, some guy that, had $2 in a coat. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go
Yeah,
hide somewhere.
right.
But he would have had to been the grandpappy of the Flash or something to have got going that fast. He's an older guy, too. He wouldn't have got anywhere too quick, I don't think. But I
That's
remember
a trip.
stories like that. One of the
Yeah.
coolest ones I ever heard was back in the 70s when the CB radios were popular. There
Oh,
was a
love
guy that had
CBs.
broken down in a snowstorm, and he
Oh,
was
jeez.
calling and asking for help. And a guy said, looked like a brand new red Ford pickup, picked him up and said, well, I'll take you up here. There's a convenience store, gas station or something up here. I'll drop you off there. And he kept on talking to him, and he got to looking around the truck, and he said, I was talking to you on my CB, but you don't have a CB radio in here. And
Uh,
the guy just kind of looked at him and smiled, and he said, I'm an angel. I don't need a CB radio.
whoa.
And so when the guy dropped him off, he watched him leave, and he said the truck didn't leave any prints in the snow. So
Man, man
I believe
alive.
there's encounters and things like that that
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy I know, he was a preacher. He was going out one morning. The baby was out of milk. He was going to go down to the corner store and get some milk. Well, right where area that he lived in, when he got out of that little neighborhood and started to pull out onto the highway, there was a gallon of milk sitting in the middle of the road.
What?
And he stopped, got out, picked it up. It was still cold, still sealed. And he looked at it, looked it over, and he's like, thank you, God. Took it home, and they used it, and they checked it real good and everything.
Wow.
But he found out the next time he went out, he was just almost out of gas. And he said he thought that if he had gone on to the store, which was a few miles away,
Right.
something would have happened. He would have ran out of gas, and somebody would have robbed him or stole his truck, or, well, they couldn't steal his truck because it was out of gas, but something bad would have happened, is what he thought.
I'm listening to you, Steve. They're asking about my mug, and I'm trying to get it to where the... It's so tricky with the green screen. It looks like he has half a mustache, But he's sweet, and the best part about him is that, see the... I've got a raven on the handle. Isn't that cool? Yep. Cappuccino in a skull. Living large, man. Living a dream, ain't we, Steve? So now, I'm kind of torn now. I think we should just let the chat, I guess, pick, because I made a video. So the reason I was inspired to do this one is because, well, there's so many different ways we could look at angels. We could look at exactly like Steve just told that story. That's what I'm going for. That kind of feeling, the everyday man meeting something bigger than us, filled with light and love and amazement. I mean, I could tell you the story. I'm walking down the street in Belmar. I'm probably 16. I think I was buying a dress for the prom or some kind of thing like that. Paying attention. I know I was looking in my bank book. Back then, you used to have a little brown bank book that you wrote everything in. You put money in the bank and you wrote it in, hand wrote it in. And then they'd fill in whatever you'd hand it over and they'd give it back and, that kind of thing. You remember that, Steve? Mm-hmm. The little bank book? So I was looking at that and I was crossing the street and we had the buses. Transit, New Jersey Transit is something like, oh gosh, we could do a show on it. And all of a sudden, I didn't realize I had walked too far and was walking into the street, and two hands, and I promise you, as God is my witness, two hands came behind my shoulders and pulled me, not just back, not just stopped me, pulled me up and back. Put me back. I mean, I caught air. My feet, I know, left the ground. And my butt, I landed on my butt, boom, on the sidewalk. Dropped my bank book and everything. One of my clogs came off. I remember I was wearing leather clogs. It was back in the day. It was in the 70s. So I look around, right away. You're like, well, hey, thanks. So, you realize because it's the shock of that happened and the shock of being put on your ass like that on hard concrete, But it's also the shock of the bus that wasn't even trying to stop. You know what I mean? So you've got that. You're trying to process all those things at once, and then the kick in the pants is you look around to see who to thank, and there's nobody there. Now, I could say that was a guardian angel. I could say it was a spirit guide. I could say it was a friendly ghost that had my back. It could be my higher self. It could be aliens. I mean, there's no definitive answer that I can give that I can say I know what did that. I know I didn't get hit by the bus. I know I wasn't paying attention. I know my butt probably deserved to get hit by the bus, but somebody thought that I didn't deserve it. I can't explain that, Steve. What's your take on something like that?
Yeah, I think that happens. There's been a lot of things like that where either a physical force or a presence or maybe an invisible force will yank somebody out of harm's way. Or sometimes I think it can even happen where something embodies either another person or an animal. A friend of mine, when he was little, he almost walked out into traffic in his just toddler and walked out of the house without them knowing it, was in his underwear and just started to walk into a busy highway. And the family dog, grabbed him by the elastic of the underwear and pulled him back toward the house. Mm. And by that time, somebody figured out that he'd gotten out. And so, I think that maybe somewhere an angel or whatever you want to call it, just like, hey, dog, grab that kid by the underwear. And, it's like that movie we were talking about, The Prophecy, that's where they have powers. They can do things.
Right. This is what I'm saying. And, I mean, you and I digging through our lives, I mean, there's been times now, this is going to sound like a liar's talk here. I don't know if you ever heard that from the elders and the old folk, but a liar's talk where old men just sit around the fire and tell lies,
Yeah.
So, but basically, it's if we went over our lives and start talking, I think that's what happens with me and Steve sometimes. Something I say reminds him of a story, something that actually happened to him, but he hadn't remembered it for a very long time. You wouldn't think that still happens, but it does, doesn't it, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think back and you go, you know what? I might have been.
We've told all our stories, and
Right.
then the more we tell them, the more we remember bits and pieces. And then, oh yeah, I remember this one time that this happened, that happened. I haven't thought about that in years.
And you also look at it differently too. Like I said, a different vantage point. So you think something that might have been, whatever, you might look at it differently and think, that could have been an angel. Now I've got more stories where that came from as far as being pulled out of stuff. I've still got a scar on my chin right here. The whole story is in the book, and I forget what part of what story I started that one in, but basically I was running about 12, 13. I still remember my bathing suit was yellow. And back when I was 13, I lived like 3-4 blocks from the ocean. So you'd come home from school, you'd put on your bathing suit, your flip-flops, grab your transistor radio, and a towel. That's what you had. Maybe some money, if you're lucky. And you went on the beach, and you stayed there all day. You came home, you changed, you went back out to the arcades at night, if you were lucky. But that's what it was like in high school, so it was kind of cool. But I went out to the beach this one day, and I get in the water, and something we all know and love here in Jersey Shore, the undertow, got me. I went out just too far to where I hit and lost that sandbar, and woof, that was it, man. And the next thing I know, I'm caught. I remember going down. I remember I was in trouble. Anybody that's ever started to drown knows exactly what I mean, and I honestly don't remember what happened between that moment and the time I'm literally out of my body. And I go into great detail of what I remember because I really tried to remember when I wrote this story, because I don't know how many other people have had experiences such as this in a pool, or you remember being at the bottom of the pool and that last little blip, I don't know if other people are out there. So you try to describe it as best you can. So anyway, like I said, in the book, it's a lot longer. But I was outside of my body watching myself caught in the undertow, like a horseshoe crab or something, or a piece of seaweed or whatever, just tumbling in that thing. And in fact, I saw myself tumbled with debris and such. And the thing that got me is I was bent backwards, and my chin was dragging on the sand, and I could see myself hitting that sandbar, and then it was it. The next thing I know, I'm waking up on the break of where the waves hit the beach, and the foam came by, and I remember looking down and lifting my head up and seeing that the foam was red because of the blood from my chin, and I looked up and looked around to see who pulled me out. No footprints. The closest people was a family on a blanket, not very far, well, far enough away that they couldn't have pulled me out and just left and acted like they hadn't even seen me yet. And I remember when I stood up, the mother of that family was the first one to see me and come running towards me, because again, 70s, families, people were cool, And her giving me a towel, I can remember that. But there was no footprints. Somebody pulled me out. I was too far up the beach, physically, any which way you look at it, for the waves just to have washed me up. I was way too far up on the beach. I had to have been drug. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I can't explain it. I had this up here. I didn't want to forget about it. Patriot. Could you read that, Steve? That one there from Patriot? Because I believe it's a story that has to do with one we just told.
Patriots.
It's right here on the screen.
Oh.
Do you see it right up front there?
Yeah, I can't. I've got my camera boom in the way. Yeah, when I was a child.
Thank you.
By myself, I can't see over my camera boom here. Can't get YouTube to. Let's put it down here.
You want me to give it a whack? When I was a child, I was by myself walking
Walking
to
2
my
miles
uncle's.
down the road. There we go. And I heard a deep voice in the mirror say, "Hey." I turned around and felt like someone pushed me down on the ground. I couldn't see
Yep.
part of it. My camera's sitting right here.
It's all
Got a
right.
boom arm, and then my microphone boom is
That's
this way.
okay.
And
I didn't mean to just
peering
sling it
through.
at you.
I'm peering through a little postcard-sized crack here where I can see the screen.
And under that it says, and nobody was there when he turned around. So same type thing. Same type thing. So that's what I was talking about. So I started to think about experiences like yours and mine, Steve, that I was a little more familiar with, and other ones that people told me. I mean, I've had again in my book, there's a long story in there about a ride I got from what I hardly believe. Absolutely. You'd be hard pressed.
I forgot about that. You got to tell that story now.
All right, I'll tell it. Well, like I said, and I'm not trying to sell books here. I'm just know that in the book, in the story, when I wrote it, I got the most extreme detail in there as I could possibly get. But going through a real hard time in the family. Anybody that's ever tried to help a loved one through an addiction or something like that knows the kind of hell I'm talking about. It's a special ring of hell of just, and we're coming to the end of a long war with this. And I had to go pick this person up, and my car breaks down. I'm out of gas. And I know if I don't get there in time, he's eventually going to take off one of his buddies. There goes the week's money, and there goes God knows what next. I'm just being honest. It's what happened. And I knew I was halfway. I was too long to turn around and walk back. And I might as well just keep on going in that direction and figure it out when I got there. At least I'd be with him, and things would be better that way. So I'm walking. And as I'm walking, I remember hearing the clicking of the car, the blinker, because I had to pull off the side. I'm on an overpass on a parkway on the exit ramp. So I'm walking. I have to walk on the parkway because I have to go up about a mile, maybe 2, and take a left. And the construction site's there and home free, right? Worst part in the neighborhood you could ever break down in. And I have been some places. But think like Detroit on a Friday night at about 3 a.m. This is what it looked like. So I'm walking, and I know I got no money. I've got no cell phone. I got a beeper. That's the age we're in. And I take, I don't know how far I'm walking. I know I turned around and looked at the car one more time, and I'm thinking, man, I'm in a bad spot. And, just keep going. And I said a little prayer, and I said, listen, I could use a little help. I mean, this is how I pray. Hey, Mike, you got any spare, buddy? Anybody you can send? Because I could use a little help here. This is like crazy. I got to get there. These kids are counting on it. I'm about the end of my rope with this one. This is like it. This is it. But you got to get me there tonight. Blah, blah, blah. You got to send some help. I finish. I end it all off. I take 3 steps. And a car, vroom, pulls up, pulls over the side and slows down. So shit, here we go. Your heart starts beating. You're like, oh man, it's either a saving grace or I'm about to get killed by a serial killer, or there's going to be a fight. One of 3 things. So I just keep walking, and I'm like, okay. And I'm asking all my guides for help at this point in time. And this feeling comes over me. And unless you've been through it, I can't explain how it feels. It's just like it's almost like it's not really out of body. It's more like, it's almost like you're watching yourself in third person, but not quite out of body. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost dream-like, where you're watching yourself in a dream, but it's you. You're not somebody else or a cactus or something. You're yourself. So anyway, it was like that. So I just went, everything said, use your gifts. And I said, okay. So I put my hand out, and I'm walking toward this car, trying to get vibes off this car. I'm not joking you. I did this. Frequencies. And it felt okay. And everything in my body was going, run, get out of here, go the other way. This is stupid. What are you doing? All of this. But inside of that storm was this calm. that said, keep walking, it's okay. These things kept going to the point where I got up to the car, to the point where he rolled down the window, the point where I'm still talking to this guy and I'm out of my mind, to the point where I did the really insane thing in the car door. I opened it and got in. And I was so close to the door. It went on, and as we're driving, he's talking to me in weird ways, like not black-eyed kids, is it food time? But kind of in this, not even mellow toned. It was more like, and it certainly wasn't methodical. It was like, this is going to sound really weird, but it was like smooth as honey and whiskey. I don't know how to explain that, but it was just, you couldn't not hear it, and it was sweet to hear. Does that make any sense? It's like the voice was like your favorite radio star. Everybody here knows it because you're listening to Steve tell you stories. There's a difference when Steve reads something and somebody else. There's a difference, and not to say you're the only one. There's many that have that voice, that have that, for commercials or back in the day, or even that Firestone guy. I actually went and looked up that Firestone guy and I forgot his daggum name, but he had that voice, That's what this guy had. And he was saying stuff like, okay, here's an example. He's looking at me and he's telling me you don't have to worry. I thought you would see the municipal plates on the car. He's a cop, off duty. When I got in that car, there was nothing between those bucket seats but the stick shift to that damn car. And when he said he was a cop and looked down, there was a badge exposed and his gun. I would have seen that when I got in. If I had seen a gun there, I would have never got near this guy.
No.
The stuff that happened, I can't even. So he looks at me and he says, and there was many of these in this short ride. There was many little profound things he said to me. But one of them was he just looked at me and said, dude, you can't help people who don't want to be helped. You have to take care of yourself. And you can't, keep killing yourself. You can't keep jumping after people who keep jumping back in the hole kind of thing. You know what I mean? And he said, remember that I said that. And I'm like, what? And at one time, I swear he used my name and I never said my name. So creepy things like that. Here was the other thing. He pulls in the gravel. I see the place and I'm like, there it is. And my heart's beat like hell. Like, let me get out of this car. Let me get out of this car. Even though everything inside the center is still going, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And I'm listening and I'm still in that surreal kind of underwater kind of state. My outside is just all exclamation points and going, get out of the car, get out of the car. So when he pulled in and I see the people through the screen door that I was going to pick up, that I was going to be with, I hear the car go on the gravel and I got the car door open. I almost jumped out before he stopped. Seriously. And I shut the door and I said, thank you. And he said, remember what I said. Because he looked in and he looked back at me. He says, remember what I said? And I'm like, sure. Ah! And I go running in, and now I'm talking to my boss, the guy's boss, and everybody that came out on the stairs to see me. And my ex says to me, okay, well, how did you get there? Where's the car? And and there's no car. And I never heard the tires on the gravel as he left. There's no taillights in either direction. And I got a ride from an angel. Explain it. You can't.
There is none, yeah. It's just...
They never saw any car. He thought I walked up. Never heard the car. They never heard the car and the gravel tires. What car? Nobody gave you a ride here. What car? They thought I was crazy. It's just nuts. And when something like that happens in real life and you're with 3 or 4 other people who didn't see it as same as you, you're just like, and eventually, she's nuts. Let's get the truck and go get the car. Go get the gas can. And they go on about their business. And you're left standing there going, what just happened, man? That's like one of the most profound things ever happened in my life. I remember looking up at that beautiful Alabama star-filled sky and going, thank you, man. Thank you. I asked for help and it came. And I don't know. The first thing that people sometimes say after wow, when they hear something like that, is they step back and they let themselves be pulled back into their day to day. And I don't blame them. This isn't a criticism. This is just an observation. And it's like, well, why didn't it happen for my neighbor down the street? Why didn't it happen for me when I got in a car accident? Why didn't it? And nobody has the answers to those. All I'm saying tonight is it happens.
Yeah, sure does.
Right, Steve?
Oh, I've just dozens and dozens of stories. I could sit here all night and tell stories that I've heard, like people at church and accounts that I've read other places and things like that, things that have happened to my own family where they've experienced what they describe as angel. And, I don't think all the times some of this stuff that people see that scares them, cryptids and whatever, I don't think it's always something necessarily like that. In the Bible, a lot of times, when people encountered angels, it would talk about that they were so afraid. Whatever it was, scared the crap out of them.
Well, I think they're different, Steve. I think there's more than one. I think like angels, we put, so does angels come under, right. I mean, it's seraphim and cherubim and all of that. Some are really scary. Yeah. Like we were saying, you and I were talking about prophecy and stuff like that. Those angels were pissed.
Yeah, that was
they came, Uriel and all them came down.
Yeah,
Gabriel was mad. Michael was half beaten and worn out.
And those scenes where it showed the war in heaven and there's like angels impaled on stuff. That's one of the most gory scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
That's so true. It's absolutely true. And if you haven't seen that movie, I don't recommend it for everybody. I certainly don't if you have a weak stomach, because it gets real deep. It goes real drops, like takes a hard left fast.
It'll put angels in a different light.
It does.
A lot of people think of these little cherubim floating around, with their
as
little
cute
wings,
as pie,
the baby, or the ones with the long robe and the wings and the halo.
And they're not good in the Bible either. So, I'm certainly no expert on angels in the Bible. I'd have to get like Pseudonym and Kiwi Patriot and, them up in here, because they've been studying it for a long time, and we certainly will. But what I'm talking about tonight is exactly what Steve and I talked about, those little things. Now, I'm telling you, I took 3 steps after I said that prayer. Now, people ask me, well, do you think you got it because you're a good Christian? Well, if I'm the representative slice, bacon, if I'm the representative slice, then Christians got a lot of things to worry about. You know what I'm saying? No. Is it because I had a good heart? No. Was it because I was fighting with everything I had, to save this one person who did not want to be saved, and trying to hold a family together? I would say no. I'm no more deserving than anybody else. Maybe it was a combination of intent, a connection. Thank you, Paradox. Connection to that higher self, that frequency, my angels, my spirit guides. Maybe it was time for something like this to happen. Maybe I needed to get rattled. If that's true, then it wasn't long after that I said, that's it, and let him go ahead and swim on his own. I had to, take the what was left of the beat up old yacht and sail down the road a little bit, So I don't know if we get chances like that. I don't know why they come. But I've also seen a lot of videos, since I go through all the time and try to pull out vids for the chat. Hey, Big Willie, welcome in, and Oracles too. I didn't get a chance to say hi to you, and Jeff Hardley.
Big Willie's got a good angel story there in the chat.
Oh, I bet. And so anyway, I'd see these things where people were saying were humanoid. They were caught on CCTV or whatever. We've heard a lot of that coming out of Chicago and all over, right, Steve? The humanoid figures, flying figures. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not really looking for that. But I'm seeing these other ones that people keep saying are angels. And my first beef with that is it fake or is it real, like we did a couple weeks ago? We looked at a lot of things and thought, well, we just don't know. We're half and half on most of them, real or fake. So we just don't know. So now we're looking at some angel videos. And these things that people are calling like man saved by angels, and we've all seen them, like the car's coming and the motorcycle's about to get hit, and all of a sudden something really fast comes up and moves the guy and he doesn't get hit by the car. We've seen them, right? And they're saying it's angels. And then I see that other people that want to say, prove that there's aliens or UFOs, they'll say alien saves motorcyclists from... It just seems like a lot of these can bend either way, Steve. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And one of the ones that always struck me was the Flatwood monster in West Virginia. Thing looked like it was wearing a dress and it had a weird shaped head. It had a thing like an ace of spades behind it. I think that was some kind of a fallen angel or some kind
That's
of
some wild shit.
something. That's I would just
Pardon my language, but
yeah,
that's some wild shit.
I would soil myself.
I seen it,
One
and
of the
it was
guys
like
did pee himself.
it had a big old thing. It looked like something out of, you know, not Star Trek, when they went to
Yeah,
one of those. You know how
Doctor
they
Who
started.
or something.
You could tell they were running out of ideas for what planet they were landing on. Like, what are they going to be next? Well, we used green people last week. We got to make them purple, or give them like, you know, one eye on top of their head or something. You know, and Captain Kirk, of course, is going to have to fall in love with one of them. But anyway, so that's what I was talking about, like, you know, the video. So I did do a video, and I was so proud to find this. I found it a couple weeks ago because I love it when Steve and I get together and we reference a story. I could throw one right now at Steve, and you're going to watch his face light up when I say it, because we take these stories and they're endearing to us in a lot of ways, because we saw them first as youngsters or kids or young adults or whatever, and we were intrigued by a certain story for a lot of reasons. It had multi-layers, right? Now, I'm going to say one now that fits it perfect. The Telly Savalas story, Steve.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'll give you
I
a
don't know so much
ride.
that was an angel, but it
Right.
was somebody that had come back.
Right.
And I don't think you become an angel,
But me
depending
either.
on your beliefs. But in the Bible, it talks about God created those as a
Separate.
specific race.
Yeah.
And all this, well, I'm going to go to heaven and play, be an angel and play a harp. I don't think
I
so.
don't think
I don't
that's
think it
true.
works that way.
I think we actually wind up being almost higher, because the angels are separate, as you said, and don't have souls. That's one of the reasons they're mad at us.
We're above the
We
angels.
will be a soul in energy change
We have free will.
and wind up being right and almost higher, which is the whole premise of the movie Prophecy, where the angels were pissed because they told us in that movie, monkeys, I know, but I thought something else went with monkeys. But
He called them
basically,
talking
that's
monkeys.
talking monkeys. There you go, talking monkeys. That's right. But that's the whole thing. They were pissed at us, you know. So they came back with revenge. But that's one story that Telly Savalas. We'll have to pull that one on here one night, Steve, because that was a great story.
No, that's one of the spookiest.
And it
stories
had a
I've ever
lot
heard.
of and it had a lot of finish off too.
And the
Came back
second
and did a
part,
full
too.
circle kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it had a full circle dealio going on there. It was a really good ghost story. But yeah, absolutely. That wasn't an angel, that was a ghost. But these are what people at least are saying are angels. Now, I didn't put a lot of those, like I said, where it zooms up and grabs a motorcycle guy and pulls him out of the way, because for some reason they look more to me like how do I put this, like Asian, you know, like Korean or Asian tech or Japanese tech, like 12-year-old these kids can do stuff like that, like no problem. The one where you see like the hands glowing and stuff and they're looking at it like they're surprised. I think that has a hint of video game to me. That's not what I pulled. I pulled some that if you look at it, they look very one of them looks, oh, what was that name? Jason and the Argonauts, Steve. Do you remember the claymation, the movie, like Jason and the Argonauts back in the day, where they had the, you know, like claymation or Davy and Goliath or any of that, even Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, all of those were claymation. But it had that kind of look to it. You be the judge. So the thing that got me excited was I found this one. And it was an old story I'd seen on some show, like a Sightings, Unsolved Mysteries, In Search of, something like that. And I've told Steve the story, and I've told you guys the story before, too. This was a guy who was working on a truck. The truck fell on him. And he's going to tell you what he saw and what happened to him. But what you don't know, the whole time you're watching this, I want you to understand that he had 5 main arteries severed. Okay? He should have bled to death. End of story. He got helicoptered out. Not only did doctors didn't think he was going to make it, but all of that healed. He lost, I don't know how many feet of intestine. Half of it grew back, which is completely unheard of, after some people came and prayed on him. And he went back on to work on a ministry and everything else, and this guy is fine to this day. But he swears angels came. Now, I know you remember that story, Steve, but I picked up a little piece of it here, and we can talk over it if you like. But I'd love for you to meet this guy, because I thought this was a very endearing story. Here we go, guys. If I can get it up here. Pardon my tech.
Then just as Bruce slipped under the truck, the 20-ton capacity jack holding up the truck shot out from its position.
And this 10,000, 12,000 pounds of weight that is on these two front wheels, on this axle, came down across my midsection, basically like a blunt guillotine, and just crushed me in half. Blood had splattered the inside of my throat, the back of my throat when it fell. And I could see that there was less than an inch of airspace between the bottom of the axle and the cement. So I knew that I was thinner than it, my body was thinner than an inch. The man jacked the truck up off of me. I begged him to get me out from underneath the truck. He didn't want to because he could tell that I had to have a broken back, and I did. My vertebrae in my back were cracked the width of the axle. It was the most incredible pain you can think of. I've never felt any kind of pain like that. The very next thing it is, I just called out, "Lord, help me." I called it out twice, "Lord, help me."
Instantly, all of the pain left Bruce's body.
At that point, I went unconscious. My spirit left my body, floated up into the ceiling, and now my spirit is looking down on the accident scene from above. The man I've been working with was on his knees above my body. He's talking, I can hear him talking. He's saying things like, I'm sorry. But on each side of him, also on their knees, was a huge angel. Their heads stuck up at least this much taller than his head. So if you would have stood them up, they would have had to been like 8 feet tall. They did not have wings. They were just very broad shoulders. Again, between the two angels and him, it took up the whole front of this truck. There was a bright light shining around each one of them. They were matching bookends. They looked identical. They just had their arms underneath the truck, not holding the truck up, but had their arms angled in towards my body. There was no pain. In fact, just peace. And I can't even describe, words can't describe the peace that I felt in the ceiling.
Bruce knew he had a serious choice to make.
I was definitely on the verge of life and death. There were two voices, thoughts in my head. One was, shut your eyes, give up and die, and you're just gonna go to heaven anyway. It was very loud. There was another voice in my head, thought, much quieter, more of a whisper, and that one said, if you want to live, you're gonna have to fight, and it's gonna be a hard fight. And next thing I knew, my spirit went back down into my body like that, just like a shot.
What do you think of that, Steve?
Interesting story.
How about that? Now you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you know, he remembers seeing angels around him. Now, I don't know how many people in how many different ways have heard stories like this, whether they're around the bed of a loved one that's about to pass and they're talking to people and they're telling you that they're there. These are loved ones coming to cross somebody over. Why, again, does it not happen for everybody? Maybe it does and they can't see them. Maybe in their state of mind, just like a ghost. They can't see certain things. They're blocking it. Doesn't mean it's not there. Last night, Ron Iacovetti said something I absolutely love, Steve, and you're going to love it too. He was saying, you know, like you go to a haunted house and like ghosts aren't just materializing in front of you and you're discovering that ghost. They're there all the time. Very much like driving a car. And as you're driving a car, the trees aren't materializing in front of you. The houses aren't materializing in front of you. They're there all the time. You're just approaching it and able to see it. I thought that was so good. It's another way of looking at something like that, another vantage point. And I tell you to look at this at a different vantage point. Again, the first thing somebody's going to ask me is, you know, why didn't it happen for the kid down the street or grandma or my daughter or my son? I've lost people, and I don't, you know, I don't waste, I don't want to say waste time, but I won't put myself through that where I go through why not that one, why not that one.
Yeah.
I think I bring myself ready for either way trying to prepare myself for it because I've seen it happen both ways. You know, we've all read the Stephen King novels where we didn't want the little boy to die, but he did, because Stephen King's a bastard and he'll kill anybody in a book.
He loves to kill his children. He's said that before.
Yeah, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes you have to. It's like when I was writing the book, I'm thinking, you know, if I kill Rage, people are going to kill me. You know, they're going to hate me because I would hate you if you killed Rage, you know. But some people, they do it. You know, I know people that didn't want Skeet to go, but, you know, he got blowed up. So, but that is the way it is in life too. I think, you know, if we never took the rocky road, we wouldn't appreciate the beauty of the easy road with the flowers and the nice scenery, right? But that guy right there, I never forgot his story. He absolutely he grew back half of his intestines after 2 men came in and prayed for him. I promise you, the story's out there. You can look it up. Just look up the man, the truck, and the 2 angels or something like that, and it'll come up. There's another one. I wanted to get you some footage, but I didn't. It was on the Cokeville Miracle. Again, this is a free movie. If you want to feel good, and you want to, you know, I mean, not like a Hallmark movie kind of crying good, but something actually happened. And it was a school where a guy went crazy. Him and his wife showed up with a bomb. Was going to blow up, hold the kids hostage. They were in the room with him. A lot of stuff happened. The kids started seeing what they were calling angels or people of light. They were saying it was older women, older people that were coming to help them and told them to go stand by the windows and all this. So when it was all said and done, the parents outside freaking out for their kids inside with a crazy guy and a bomb. All these kids are in one classroom. The bomb goes off because the wife is whooping her hand around and she forgot she had the detonator and she blew up. The guy committed suicide in the bathroom and all the children were saved. It's absolutely impossible. And when the blast happened, you can see forms of angels standing around the room where the blast powder was clean, where the angels were standing, and then the blast powder all around. The Cokeville Miracle. Free movie on YouTube. You can watch it.
I'll have to check that out.
Cokeville Miracle. Yeah, and the kids all came forward, and after, some didn't say anything after a couple weeks, and they told their parents, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. That's why I didn't tell you. But they started picking out pictures from relatives out of albums and said this is, you know, so great-grandmothers were shielding these kids, helping them out of windows, all kinds of stuff. So they went on and did a great show, and all the kids came forward and said that this made-for-TV movie, the free one that's on YouTube now, the Cokeville Miracle, they said that was so true to life, how it all went down. So interesting. These things happen. So again, I say, chat, you know, if you're going through some hard times or whatever, I suggest putting positive energy out there, whatever you want to call prayer, whatever your belief is. Reach out there to your angels and your spirit guides and say, look, I'm not asking you to fix it. Just guide me and show me the way, like I did when I was walking down that highway, one foot in front of the other. You know, I was willing to take it on either side. Just give me the strength to get through it. And I think sometimes things roll better that way because we don't always know what's best for us. Don't they always say sometimes the best prayers are the ones where you got the answer no because you begged for a job and then 6 months later found out if you got that job you'd have been screwed because of something else you didn't know about, right, yeah. Steve? It can happen.
Exactly right.
Yep. And I've got some fun ones here. So we're going to toss these. I tried to pick ones, like I said, that didn't look like humanoids, looked more like what we would consider angels to be, whatever that might be. But I think they're fun anyway. Let's see what we get out of them. What do you say, Steve? Cool?
Yep.
These are always so much fun. So here's that one we've all seen. Look at that. Now, they're going to show it a couple times, so you're going to see it more than once, and then I'm going to show the whole one a little bit down the road. That was just a fast one. Here we go. Because there's more to that video. This is
I got to step away real quick.
Go right ahead. This is the one that I said looked a little, almost like a video game or claymation, very Jason and the Argonauts, but again, if you were going to go through that, why to make something fake, to go through that much trouble, why would you have the camera all goofy like that all the time. You'd want to at least get a good shot. This is a slow motion of the same thing. Notice the trumpet the one's carrying. Is it like so far over the top it's just like no way? Or is it, oh my God, that's so real? You feel me? It's one or the other, because if we're looking at it, it says it looks too real to be fake, then what are we really saying there? You know? Okay, here's a longer version, I believe, of that one, that lightning one, the jumpity one. Here he is. But see, there's more to it. See, people run over to where they saw it hit. It was almost looked like lightning in a way, but it was so angel-like. See them all running over to it? Does the trumpet change shape? It does look like a shofar. Here's some in Brazil. I thought this was kind of cool. It's almost like the second one, but a little further off. If that one's carrying a trumpet, I'm going to be very suspicious. See how there's two? It's not the best video, but if you really look, see, there's a better one. See that? And it's more than like two birds. There's more there. Are you guys seeing that? Is this creepy music? Mario, my husband Mario wrote this for me. You can hear laughing. Okay, here's a guy. He's got his groceries. He's going to put him in a car, right? And then watch real fast. And I don't have a lot of... Oop! Did you see that? It set off the car alarms. That was like a short one I just threw in. Okay, now this one goes fast too. Watch here what happens. And zip. What? What? Here's slow. And I'm going to run those two back for you again so you can see them again, because it happens so fast. Okay. Okay, we'll be quiet. We'll be quiet, scary hoodie man. Okay, we're not ready for that one yet. I'd love to wait for Steve for that one. So we're going to go run back a couple other ones, if you don't mind. So what do you think about him so far, right? Is Connor here? Hi, Connor. Hey, Bigfoot. What's up, babe? Okay, we're looking at some goofy angel footage. Okay, that's that one where it's kind of hard to see, but I had to throw it in there to give you... Just something says more to me than just birds there. Okay, now this guy, again, watch him put down, he's, you know... struggling with his groceries. When this fast thing goes by, all of the alarms go off in the cars. Tell me how hard that would be to do. Now just think about that a second. You'd have to find a way to blow by those cars. You got 1, 2, 3. I believe all 4 go off, if not just the first 3. The car alarms go off on the cars. Do you feel what I'm saying? How are you doing that on video? I know it sounds so weird to that, like that's hooking me up, but I believe that they can put holograms in the clouds that look like angels. I believe that we could do that back in the Bay of Pigs. What, you're talking 62, 63, 64. And they had the technology with Project Bluebeam to do just that, to put Mother Mary in the sky and have her speak in Spanish and tell the Cuban people to revolt against their government. This was in documents. And if you don't believe me, look up Project Bluebeam and read the documents, and you'll see on the things that they were picking to do for before the Bay of Pigs in Kennedy's cabinet. And the generals were signing off on some crazy shit. But that was one of them. To project Mother Mary, not only a picture believable enough to bring the Cuban people to their knees, but be able to project a speech, a pledge, a call to arms, if you will, for the Cuban people to revolt so that they could start a war. So when I'm looking at these angels, right, I'm thinking, okay, who's doing it For what reason at this point? You know, like the guy with the shaky camera that's got the two with the one angel with the trumpet. How cliche is this, right? But maybe the cliches are around because there's some truth to them. Do I believe all angels have wings? No. Do I believe that all spiritual guides and higher ascended beings have wings or come? I believe that most of them probably project some type of light, because their vibration is vibrating on such a high frequency that I do believe that in some way it would look like they were emitting some kind of light energy or white light, or at the very least, the warmth and the projection of that kind of love and that kind of vibration, right? I mean, that's what I feel when I see them. That's what I felt when I was going around by that car. And my hands, literally, as I'm walking around it, I'm looking, and I try as I might, I cannot remember the license plate. And I remember when I was trying to look at the license plate, because at that time, if you were hitchhiking or you were around in this late 60s, early 70s, you always told your friend the license plate of the car you got in if you were going to go, or you're with your friends, you're hanging out at the soda store and somebody came and picked you up. It was just something you did. You looked at the license plate. Not that it did you any good, but it was something. Just something girls did, I guess to feel better. But what were you really going to do with it, Now girls take a picture with their phone and send it to a friend. Don't tell me we don't. And if you're not doing it, you probably should. Right? So I remember looking at the license plate and not being able to see it and thinking it was weird. And I remember telling myself that it was just me needing glasses. But it was so surreal. It was like I was being, like I said, walking in warm water, if that makes any sense. Everything was slow motion. It was not slow motion, but slowed down. When we turned on that gravel, and like I said, I was like half out the window because I just wanted to get out of that car. I saw safety in the contractor's shed, right? I could see through the screen door that they were sitting there, playing cards or whatever, in the light, and I knew that was safety. And I heard the tires on the gravel. It's just something you hear when a car turns on a gravel road. You hear the change of sound, I heard that. I got out of the car, and when I looked at him, he said, "Remember what I said to you." And the bluest eyes. Now, I don't want to stereotype angels of blonde hair, blue eyes, and all that. I don't want to do that. But there was something about the eyes. They were like an ice blue. It almost hurt to look into them. When he said, "You don't have to worry, I'm not going to hurt you. You shouldn't be walking out here." He said the typical line. I can remember it almost word for word. He said, "If you were my mother or my sister, I would want somebody to pick them up. You shouldn't be walking out here alone in this area or this town," or whatever it was he said at the end. The stereotypical thing. And inside, my, warrior, hitchhiker, badass, AC/DC t-shirt wearing, bar fighting, redheaded Jersey girl here was saying, "You're out of your mind. Get out of this car." This is the beginning of every serial killer, Ted Bundy, name them off, It was all of it. It was all of it. It was the beginning of Silence to the Lambs, where she's in the VW bug and she's just, she's just an American girl, and she's just minding her own business till she sees that guy with a broken arm trying to get a couch in the back of the truck. That's the human serial killer, human equivalent to a deer hunter setting up a blind and putting, salt lick and apple block or deer scent or whatever. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying it's the same. Same as putting bait on a hook for a fish. Yeah? So, you gotta wonder, at what point in time do you not get on the elevator, or you don't get in the car, or you don't take that chance? And I think what Steve and I are trying to tell you is I think these things pop up all the time. Steve, you missed a couple, hun, and so we stopped them.
Oh, okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I had a delivery. I had to
it's fine. I just want to know what you think about it. We saw a couple, and then I saved the very best for last for all of us together here. There's just a couple. But I think you saw this one. Now, this is the one I was talking about. It was a little Jason the Argonaut kind of feel to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like too good. It's too perfect to be real because it's too real.
Yeah.
With the trumpet, the shofar. Is that how you say that? Shofar?
Shofar, huh?
But if you were going to go through the trouble to fake this, why can't you hold your camera still? Wouldn't you want a good shot? I'm on the fence with that one too, Jackie. Oh, and the trumpet changes, does it? Chat saying the trumpet changes too. And if you're enjoying the lovely music, Steve, as Mario's at it again. That's him. Isn't that great? Did you love that little tickle, tickle, tickle? He found some new buttons. He found some laughter and some creaky doors. It's wonderful. All right, here's that jumpy one, but it's the longer version where the people run up to where they saw it. It's so fast. But you can almost see a head in this one, can't you, Steve?
Looks like it.
But it almost is a little like those ones where, almost like a video game. I don't know. It's not very convincing, but why bother? If you're going to do it, why not put it in the center of the frame for Pete's sake? I just don't understand why, if you're going to cheat, don't cheat shitty. It's like, I don't know. Is this the way people are cheating nowadays, Steve?
Must be.
All right, so here's a couple. It's not a great shot, but if you watch it, every once in a while, it looks more like a bird. When you could see the whole thing, you can really get a little more size perspective. It's not just two birds. It's too big. You don't get that in this video, but I've seen, fuller versions. And this one's just a close-up of them. And you can tell every once in a while the way they're flying, it's just different. It's different than two birds. If it is, it's like two eagles or something. This one's so fast, but look, Steve, and I'm going to stop it so we can watch this one. That's what we were doing when you showed up. Watch the car alarms go off. I don't know how you fake that. Look at that. Now I'll go back and do that one more time. That's the part I was saying, because what are you blowing past those cars to get the car alarms to go off like that? You see what I mean? Here we go. We'll do it again.
Strange.
It is. It's different. Here it comes. Now watch the car alarms go off, because you're not going to be able to see the thing. It's too dang fast. But how the car alarms go off just blew my mind. See that?
Yeah.
Right? How do they do that?
But then why would an angel set a car alarm off? I don't.
Right. I don't know. I have no answers.
Too many
Zero.
imponderables there, but it's.
See how fast that one is?
It's odd, whatever it is.
Do you see how fast that one was? That goes fast, so I'll run it back again. This one baffles me. It seems real to me. I agree, Aunt Edna. Let's do that one more time. Not you again. Here we go. Watch closely in front of the little boy. Just missed a rock coming off the top of the building. Now, here's a slow version. Wow. Okay, now this one's a little more fun. Nope. Yeah, this was a little more fun. I had to throw that in because cherubs are supposed to be fun. And I thought this was amazing. Have you ever seen this?
No.
This is at an airport in Brussels. When you want to talk about how can they fake something, this is at an airport in Brussels. They made the picture come alive with hologram. Look at how, isn't this something? In an airport, in the cafeteria. And look at how real they can make this look. This blows you away right here. Watch. And everybody just standing right there. He goes and gets his little bow and arrow. This thing goes on for 8 minutes. I just did a clip to show you a piece. Isn't that amazing? So when you see something like that, you wonder, am I seeing an angel or am I seeing something like this? Look at that. Look at how convincing. Isn't that amazing?
Hello.
That is something. If you want to see this, look up Ruben's, Ruban. It's called.
So I knew that.
Wait a minute, I didn't mean to
was-
start that again. It's called Ruban. Ruben's painting. You can put in cherub, and you'll get the whole thing. That whole thing is about 10 minutes long, Steve. It's this whole story of how he gets a little girlfriend. He busts her out of the frame. They go flying around the cafeteria. So I mean, it's absolutely adorable in every way. However, it also shows us how real things can be. So. Again, that's just another way for me to tell you,
And
stop
if you
beating
want to go
yourself
down
up.
a really interesting rabbit hole, look up Project Bluebeam.
There you go.
It's supposedly a technology they have where they can beam visions, ghosts, angels, whatever,
Mother Mary.
directly into your mind. But it's the government doing it.
Remember the Bay of Pigs and the Madonna that they were going to put up into the clouds and yell to the Cuban people? We were just talking about that when you were on your Mulder potty break, or no, you were getting your groceries, whatever. And we were talking about that, and it's great that you came in and said the same thing because we just don't know. So again, why not? If it makes you feel good, let it. If it makes you feel, scared, then maybe you're supposed to be apprehensive about something else in your life. But if it pulls you out of the way of a moving bus, Steve's had those type of things too. There's people in here in the chat that were talking about having things like that happen. So, let us have them. But again, too, if you can, and again, I'm no expert. That's why I bring people on to talk about these things. But what I'm picking up, thank you, Jackie. Jackie's dropping the link for Ruben's Cupid. So watch the whole thing. It's really adorable. And again, it's free. So go out there and get it. It makes you feel good. It's going to be great. And they went through a lot of trouble to make that work for you. But that's the thing, don't sit back and worry, why isn't a miracle happening for me? Expect a miracle to happen or help other people get their miracles to happen. And, like Tater says, when he was worried to death in his old golf cart, bad brings bad and good brings good. And if we're doing good for others, maybe that's one reason good can reach us or good can connect to us because we've already got that vibration going, Steve. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with this or that. It's what we're connecting into, like when we connect into ghosts.
You reap what you sow, so be sure that you're sowing a crop that you want to reap.
Right.
'Cause when you plant a kernel of kindness or a kernel of corn, you don't get a kernel back, you get a stalk.
There you
on
go.
that stalk, there's many ears, and then on each one of those ears, there may be hundreds of kernels.
Right.
So you want to plant kindness. You want to plant good things.
Yep.
Definitely, because then that's the harvest you've got coming back to you. And if you're out there sowing seeds of a contempt and discord and hate, guess what you're going to get when your harvest comes in?
Right. like Tater says, good brings good, and bad brings bad. That's just how it is. I mean, it's just, and that seems to be it. But I put this one on here for fun because cherubs, again, as cute as they are, I don't know how we've taken like cherubs and gin, and we've made them so cute and adorable and cuddly and, kind of like Pillsbury Doughboy. You want
I
to
think in
poke his little
reality
belly.
they would scare the pants off of
Yeah,
you.
I do too.
Wouldn't be like Aladdin. It wouldn't be the little Valentine's Day kid in a diaper or
Right.
maybe New Year or whatever. It's going to be some sort of, and you'll be so afraid, as they say
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Bible, a hideous apparition or whatever. Like,
Yeah. And that's just it. I mean, a lot of times when people is like, oh, an angel, and I agree wholeheartedly with what you said. And I don't think anything's wrong with people saying, my mom passed and then she's an angel in heaven. I mean, gosh, I said that to myself I don't know how many times. But again, I think they're even higher because it's somebody fits everywhere. Whoever's got the cover to this puzzle box knows what they're doing. And I'm not going to worry myself trying to figure it all out. I'm just going to worry about how things work for me. And, if these things give me hope, and hearing stories about angels keeping this young man alive while he was waiting on the help to come, possibly healed because two friends went in there and prayed over him and demanded that he be healed, and he felt the shock go through his system, and even he said his stomach was rumbling and he didn't know what was going on. Well, the doctors came in and his intestines were growing back. Everybody can sit here and say that's absolutely impossible. And again, if it happened for him, why didn't little Jimmy's leg come back? Or I don't have those answers. Yeah. I just know we have too many people saying that this type of thing happened. And I can attest right now, and I'm going to get somebody very mad at me in this house, but I can tell you that this happened in my own family. My son hit a parked concrete truck, probably doing about 70 miles an hour. Come around the corner, the lights weren't on, a whole different bunch of things caused the accident. We don't focus on what, because at this point in time, difference does it make? It can happen to anybody at any time. So hug your loved ones. But the things that happened afterwards, very much like this man, I cannot attest to what he saw or didn't see. I can tell you that he probably shouldn't have made it through. Too many major arteries cut, too much blood loss, too long for rural help to come. Oh gosh, I don't know how long it would have took the poor deputy that called me at his 1 o'clock, my 2 o'clock in the morning to tell me that my son was in a major car accident, 5 states away. You don't want those phone calls. Nope. But I'll tell you what happened after. I'm downstairs. I'm going to throw a couple pictures up here, and they're crappy pictures, and they couldn't be more pure because it's basically a snapshot off my phone. I took this with my phone, okay? So it's not the best, but it's real, okay? So he's in this hospital. He's on this 3rd or 4th floor. Now, not everybody could come, again, 5 states away. So I'm reporting back. I'm trying to hold my head together. I'm trying to figure out what's going on next. We're talking about somebody who's in a coma, 15% chance of making it. He wound up being in there for almost a month just in ICU, just over a month, 38 days in ICU. So very much like the young man we just saw. Things were healing on him, again, just like the man we just saw. But at this part of the story, I have to go downstairs to get my phone to work, and I go across the street to smoke a cigarette and to make my phone calls so that they can call people. And one of the people I was talking to felt bad they couldn't be there, so I said, I'll get you as close as I can get you. It's actually a really nice hospital. I'm focusing on the good stuff. I'm focusing on I can hear birds singing. I'm focusing on I can save a little bit of my lunch to go feed the birds and look at some beauty to regroup so I can go back in there and be strong and do all the things I got to do, keep this young man alive. It's a lot. You got to watch every nurse, every beeper, everything. That sound. Anybody that's ever sat with a loved one and know that beep, beep, beep. You hear that for months afterwards because it's a lifeline, literally. Intense. So I'm across the street and I take a picture of the hospital. It's beautiful. It's got a, I'm going to throw some pictures up. I hope this works. I'm sorry if I cover your face here. Steve. I apologize. But
worries.
this is the only way I could figure out how to put them up. But it's so much better when you have a little picture. Let's see, where did I put them? Okay. So it's the front of the hospital, and this is what it looks like. If I can get it up there. Okay, you can see it. It's small. Again, I said it's a screenshot off my phone. Last minute, I was grabbing these, but like I said, they're real. They're not doctored in any way. They're not even cropped, for Pete's sakes. I'm sorry. But you get an idea. It's a hospital, right? So I want you to look at this little grove of trees here. And you'll see 2 windows up at the top that obviously stand above the trees, right? 2 separate windows. Mm-hmm. I'm across the street, and I walk across the street and take another picture. And I stand, I don't know if you can you guys see this when I move my arrow or no? I don't think you can. Yeah. But, okay, so you see this group of trees all the way to the left where the little road curves. So it's basically just a U-turn. You can go up, drop patients off, and come back out. It's like a little U-turn driveway, right? So I'm standing right there by the farthest sign, and it's just a sign that says wrong way or something like that. And this is a little grove of what he called crepe myrtle trees, and they were in bloom, watermelon pink, if that means anything to anybody. And I'm standing under there, and I take another picture. And as soon as I take this picture, because I'm trying to show the person that I'm going to send these pictures to, this is his window. This is where my son is. He is in the window all the way to the left. And if you look really close, when you're standing where I was standing at this point, you can see where I was standing right by the trees and pointing up. And you could see his IV. You could see the back of his bed. And this is the closest I could get this loved one to him, was to this window. So it was a moment, okay? I'm in this state of mind. And when I reached up to get this picture, and I was just thinking the same thing, I zoomed in. Which all you do is you know, anybody's taking a picture with a cell phone, you zoom in to get a closer picture of that window, because I wanted him to see the IV, because that's as close as I could get him to somebody he cared about that was struggling for his life, to tell you the truth. Send prayers here. And when I did it, I had something in my hand, and I dropped it, and I bent over. As soon as I snapped the picture, I dropped this thing, I bent over, and something hit me in the back cold. And right away, I thought a bug fell off that tree I was telling you about. And the things that go through your head, and I'm wearing this real light blouse. It's, July in Alabama, real loose blouse. And I shook it because I thought it was a beetle or something. Or I thought it was one of the crepe myrtle buds because it was cold and wet. And when I shook my shirt, something fell out and hit. It was a quarter. And in the state of mind again I was always talking to my angels, trying to keep my vibration high, going, hey, Mike, you got to get me through this. Or here comes the mother-in-law again, Mike, you got to bring me the angels. Don't leave me stand alone. I need a shield, because, you just every minute you're asking for help. And I looked down at the quarter and I said, listen, man, and I'm talking again to my spirit guides, I'm going, guys, if that's my birth date or his birth date, you're going to have to catch me, because I can't take much more. And I laughed, and I just bent down to pick up the quarter, and it was cold. I flipped it over real slow. Now, why is it cold? If it was stuck in my bra or stuck in me, it would have been warm, right? This thing was cold. Ice cold on a July day. Alabama. And I flipped it over, and it said 1993. And I just looked at it, I said, well, guys, you were close. His birthday's 1990. And I giggled. I said, close enough, though. And I stuck it in my little pocket of my jeans. And I went inside. Now I'm sitting inside ICU waiting for my chance to go in. And I'm going through my pictures, right? Let me take you back before I show you this next one. As I'm leaving the ICU unit, it was probably about day 4, and he was in and out of a coma. And nobody else was able to get a response out of him. They're saying he's non-responsive. I said, bullshit. First of all, you're calling him by the wrong name and you're yelling at him. We're going to do it this way. What do you want him to do? Get him to squeeze your hand. Not only did he squeeze my hand, he squeezed my hand, opened his only good eye and winked at me and tried to smile with what little mouth he had left. And I said, they're making me leave the room right now, but I guarantee you I'm not leaving you alone. This room is filled with angels. I feel them. Your loved ones are here. Your ancestors are here. My ancestors, our spirit guides. Everybody's in this room, and it's filled with love. Do you feel that? And he squeezed my hand. And I laughed at him, and I said, listen, I'm not going to say your spirit guides are here, because I guarantee you at least the front runners of your spirit guides are sitting in a bar in Jamaica on a nice vacation right now going, oh my God, that boy. And the well-deserved vacation. But I know Archangel Michael is standing right here with you. So I'll be right back. 10 minutes, I'm not leaving you. I will be back. You are not alone. Do you believe that? And he squeezed my hand, and again, he winked. And I went downstairs. That's when I took the pictures. Now, when I bent over, when I dropped what I dropped, and I took the picture in the window, clicked one picture, the thing quarter hits me on the back with his birth date on it. Almost three years off, close enough. Right? Now I'm sitting in the ICU going back after I promised him I would go back in the room filled with love and angels. And I'm going through the pictures, and I see the pictures that I showed you. The very next one that I clicked when I got hit in the back with a quarter. Wow. Tell me what you see. I'm not going to tell you what you see. You tell me what you see. Because I don't only see what looks like the shape of what I would consider, what I visualize Archangel Michael to look like. I see many standing around him. The room was filled with angels that day, my friends. I can't prove it to you. Do you see what I'm saying? I can't.
Yep.
I can't. I can sign an affidavit that everything I just said is true. But nobody else can prove to me that it didn't. Because I see Archangel Michael in that picture. And if you put everything together, I just told him that. That was my Attagirl, my marker, my little thing just between me and him that said, keep fighting, we got this. Right after that, my niece arrived, and we walked in there. And I took every prayer, and I said this a couple of nights ago on another show. I just took all the energy that was put out into the universe in his name, and I said, bring it forth. She grabbed my hand, and we both laid our hands on his chest. And the next day, the doctor took x-rays. And the doctor did some other things. I can't remember if he was putting in the trach or not, but can't understand why overnight he is shot up so strong. And they're very careful about how they give you percentages, but he went from a 15% chance to an 85. From that point on, he would go to doctors and get x-rays where they couldn't find where the damage was. They couldn't find where the scarring should have been. It's an amazing thing. So I'm here to tell you what happened to that man under the truck can happen. I've seen it happen in my own life. I've heard countless stories of others. So faith. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean your faith wasn't strong enough. It just meant to be that it's your journey. And I know that sounds like a fail-safe, but it seems to be the way it is, Steve.
Yep, I agree.
All right. So now with all this, we're going to end it tonight with, that's a lot of good stuff and a lot of fun things and the possibilities, what they could do with angels. And that's probably the only cherub I ever want to see from what I've heard, Steve. But I'll tell you what, I think I'd rather bump into a cherub before I bump into what's coming next. I put this on here to remind everybody that when we're talking about angels, what angels? When you're talking about ghosts, are you talking about a ghost that's going to be communicating and kind and tell you the truth? Or are you talking about an angry person that's dead that's going to be an ass soul in death because he was an asshole in life? Right? Yeah. So there's good and bad in everything. And I wanted to remind everybody that if we're talking about some angels, we're talking about some fallen angels. And here's a couple of real good representatives from that movie, Prophecy, that I told you about. And if you haven't seen this, this last piece is a lot longer. I cut a lot of the really horrible stuff out of it. But how this woman standing here, this is Michael Madsen's sister. She does a wonderful job in this film, along with some favorites. Let's watch. They can be scary too. So creepy. Just a little bit of Viggo Mortensen playing Satan himself, who was known as Lucifer, the angel of light, the most loved, the highest of all. But as it's said, and we've learned that that wasn't good enough. He wanted to be God, and they wound up falling. He wound up taking a lot with him. So when we're talking about angels, and cherubim, cherubs and everything else, you got to remember fallen angels are in there too, right, Steve?
Yeah, sorry, had a message.
That's okay. But I thought that, if I had to pick out of all the devils that were portrayed in movies,
That's one of the best.
Viggo Mortensen in Prophecy as Lucifer himself. That last scene, if you have not seen that whole last scene, again, the whole movie's really good and extremely creepy.
I'm going to go late tonight and watch the movie again.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 was okay. Again, the first one was the best, but it takes you a little while to figure out what's going on. Basically, all the fallen angels hit Earth. They're all pissed. You know them all. You know them well. Uriel and Azrael and Gabriel and Michael, and they all come down. But, man, it's not like you'd think. So when people say angels are coming, I got to think, whoa, wait a minute, which ones? What kind of mood are they in?
Are they pissed off?
Because I've seen good and bad, in both sides of that. But you know what? That's in everything. So again, if good brings good and bad brings bad, I think we better just keep our our conscience high and keep our we're learning a lot of tricks, Steve. Chocolate, for grounding, and these showers with this white light and all the negative goes down the drain. Meditation, hugging trees, crystals, guided meditations, all kinds of things. Fire gazing. How many different things have we come up with over the shows and had our wonderful chat suggesting as well? Diet, frame of mind, out in nature, just getting out and walking in nature and feeding birds or feeding a squirrel, or we just fed the chippies. I think our chippies finally went to sleep here, but they're well fed. I guarantee they probably got cable in those little burrows they got out there. I think somebody delivered Domino's the other day to one of them. Tiny little pizza boxes outside the hole, But anyway, that was it. And it was really fun, but I had to share a little bit of that prophecy because, man, when you see him portrayed like that, and again, Viggo Mortensen, I think, what's his name? Al Pacino in Devil's Advocate. He played a good Satan. He really did. And I'm sure everybody's got, who they think is really scared the bejesus out of you. But if you've not seen Viggo play it, go and watch it and come back and tell me what you think, because his goes up to 11. I assure you. Absolutely. Any last words on angels there, Steve? I can't believe we've killed another 2 hours talking about
just hope that the ones that come for you are the good ones, the guardian angels, and not the ones that are pissed off and don't like talking monkeys.
What's here? Somebody saying, they're having, what are we doing? Are we giving away bacon? I don't know what's going on. This chat's going off the rails here, Steve. Hold on. Daryl's doing something. What are we doing, Daryl?
Daryl's going to sing and play it for everyone.
He's going to sing and do what?
And play it back for everybody, apparently.
Oh, really? Oh, wonderful. Okay. Well, bring it on, Daryl. Absolutely. And I would love to once a month, Steve. What do you think about this idea, having another call-in like we had? How much fun was Halloween?
Yeah, that was great. I'd like to do that again.
Yep, and I'm hearing people that did get through. And again, if you're on the chat tonight, Connor, I'm sorry.
Let it be a surprise. You don't know, the audience won't know who it is until they're on screen. And hey, here's
it's great.
Love it.
Thank you for the bacon, everybody. I hope you enjoyed tonight's angels. You definitely had to touch on that again. I'm kind of coming into my holiday thing too. I'm going to bring lots of hope, lots of different ideas. We're going to have a Krampus night. We're going to have a miracles night. We're going to have, maybe how to get the grief and what our loved ones are trying to tell us, so we can reach out and do that kind of thing too. Definitely do a Dickens and a Dickens extravaganza with little pieces and parts of that, and tell a story about how he started out with Christmas. I don't know how many people saw the movie The Man Who Invented Christmas, but I'd love to do a little something wrapped around that. Dickens did some wonderful ghost stories, and the Pickwick Papers and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a good holiday season. Everybody with ideas come in. We're going to have to get probably some new recipes, huh, Steve?
Yep, indeed.
They're going to have bacon in for this chat, because they accept nothing less. They ask for nothing more. They expect nothing less. Just give them their bacon. Bacon and booze, man. Give me a ghost story and some bacon, and they're happy. I love you guys all so much. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. If I've missed some of the stories, but what I usually do is go back over the show, if I can go over the chat the next day, and I try to write down a couple things maybe we need to bring up again. But, okay, Daryl's got a song, something on his YouTube. Sometimes it goes so fast it's hard to see. Voice is bad because of Bob, but it's there. Well, just sing your little heart out, hon. We're gonna love you either way. You just bring it on and be you. How about that? You just come on here and do you. That'll be awesome, Daryl. Okay, guys. Anything else, Steve? You want to tell us what you got going on? How many shows? You got 24/7 shows running on everybody's channels?
Just about. Tonight, join 9 Lives of Sandy and myself on 13 past midnight for whatever we're doing over there. We've been having some themed nights, and I have a lot of fun with that. I'm not sure what Sandy's got cooked up for tonight, but it will be good. So join us over there. And we've got a new start time over there. Now we're at midnight Eastern instead of midnight Pacific, so 3 hours earlier than it used to be. We did that for you East Coast folks. That I thank everybody for getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but now they only have to come in at midnight, so it's working out good.
That's great. That's amazing. Well, you never can tell what's going on. I mean, right now I'm about ready to go to bed. Some people just getting up, Steve. Yeah. But there you go again, Archangel Michael. I see an angel there, Steve, and I didn't have to. Indeed. You didn't have to dig for it either. And
also join me over on 13 past midnight, my main channel, for all the good stuff we got going on over there. Again, missing persons is the main focus, but the mystery side of that, we take that very liberally. We have a lot of crazy, wild stuff over there. So join us. We just passed 122,000 subs. So moving right along.
Hey, this channel here is actually up to 1,100 organically grown, beautiful subs, and wonderful, wonderful chat. So thank you all. There's your ticker. Hit the like, please. Everybody in here, give it the thumbs up, because that does help. Maybe soon here. I'm also trying to come up with maybe, once a show, I'll feature some jewelry. Everybody's looking for alternative ways to buy for this Christmas and, get from people. But maybe I'll do something like that, and dream catchers or whatever, set my PayPal up and stuff like that. But I don't want you to think that you got to pay to be here, because Steve and I, it's all free love here, isn't it, Steve?
That's right.
All right, guys.
Or double your money back.
Double your money back if you don't like it. You return the love.
Free tickets for the next show if you didn't like this one.
There you go. I love you, Chad. I love you, Steve. Have a good week. See you next week. God knows what we'll talk about. I don't know what we talked about tonight. Good night. Keep your feet under the covers. Keep your closet doors shut, because there are things that go bump in the night. And it might be Viggo Mortensen. If it is, it's been nice knowing you. Bye. Good night.
Good night, everybody.